the show. It's 102.5 The Bone. We've got 2 St. Patrick's shows coming up. As usual, Pitbull Toddler will be at Maloney's in West Chase on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th.
Right.
But in order to get your body functions ready for that day, St. Practice Day is Saturday the 14th. Pitbull Toddler will be live at McDitton's in Soho. Early show, like 7:30, 8:30 time. We'll tell you exactly later in the week, but get ready to do both. Go practice one place, and then go there and lose your liver at Maloney's.
Mm-hmm.
Maloney's has a bucket. You just put your liver in it when you're done.
Yeah.
Please go get DOV DAVIDOFF and bring him in the studio. You know DOV DAVIDOFF?
I do know DOV DAVIDOFF.
What a very funny comedian he is. I'm telling you right now. You may recognize him. He's been in movies and he
Funny
was in
comedian,
Invincible.
good actor, too.
Right. But very funny comedian.
Yeah.
Like sometimes guys who do both are like, hey, I recognize that face, good actor. He is, I am going to tell him when he comes in here. I went to see him recently in New York, and it was great. Let me get a look at him. There he is.
Yes.
How are you, buddy?
Hey, Mike. I'm Mike. How are you, sir?
I'm so happy to see you.
It's good to see you as well.
Let me tell you. So
You're one of the good guys.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you know that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You are one of the good guys. How do you
I'm
like
trying.
that?
I'm trying. A couple of good guys, yeah.
My wife and I were in New York.
Yes.
And we went to the Comedy Cellar.
Oh, okay.
I look at the list. I go, oh, DeStefano, Davidoff.
Yeah, it's
we're
good
for
spot.
a good night, right?
Yeah.
So we go there and endured about 5 comics before you.
Yes.
And they weren't bad, but they weren't great. One was like the black chick from Saturday Night Live. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
One was a guy who looked like he more wanted to be a model and a comedian, and he wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
And it was all right. Like, we're having a good night.
Yep.
And then you came out, and I look at my wife. I go, this guy's funny. I go, he's been on the show before. He's been in movies. He's a good. You'll like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was not prepared for how funny you were.
Oh, thanks.
When it was over, I looked at my wife. We were both like, I see a lot of comedians. I laugh at a lot of stuff, but I mean, we were like blown away because I felt like I missed out on that before we had you on the show before.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, it can be hit or miss too with me. I mean, if I'm working on new stuff, I mean, you never know what I'm going into. But I mean, those lineups in terms of probability of being good are it's about as good as it gets in terms of general club lineups.
Totally,
But yeah, no, thanks. Man.
So the opening guy, not the host, but the first guy that went up. The host is that poor black dude that died shortly after I was there. Kind of older, maybe a little heavy set. Looked like he was one of those Bebe Kid.
He was a black comedian that died?
Yeah. He was hosting.
I don't know.
He was hosting that night that you were performing. You would know.
I think
if
he hosted for a long time.
Yeah, he's always there when I'm up there.
But he's dead now?
He's dead. He had a heart attack
wait,
or something.
who was it? Yeah. Oh, God, that's so terrible. Oh, yeah, older black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. I knew him well.
I know.
You know, the first time I was in New York City, when it was not the first time in New York City, but when I was a kid, before I even thought about doing stand-up comedy, that dude was in the park doing live stuff for people for money out in the park.
Oh man.
Yeah. No,
probably made more than he did at the Comedy Cellar.
He had a tough life. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah. Jersey originally.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the guy that I said looked like he kind of could be a model.
Yes.
He was not very funny, but he did have one good joke. It seemed like while he was talking, everybody was going to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
The first guy that went by was an Indian guy.
Sure.
Second was a fat white girl. Yeah. And the third was a tall black guy. Yeah. And he stops in the middle. He goes, "Are they filming a college brochure down there?" And I was like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a good joke.
That's funny,
that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you remember last time you were here? It was a long time ago. We were doing afternoons at the time.
Okay.
But it was a very memorable moment. I'll tell you, and you'll remember.
Yeah.
I remember you. I remember. It's almost like going past a restaurant. I don't always remember what I had. I remember whether or not I liked it.
Right.
And I remember liking you, which is often, regular. But no. I remember being here. Anyway, go ahead.
An incident occurred.
An incident occurred.
An incident.
Not with you. You were here for it, and you suffered through it. So we were in, I pretty much had free reign. I could do whatever I wanted. We had cattle prods.
Yes.
And I knocked the radio station off the air for over an hour because I cattle prodded the equipment. Because they were all nervous and they were like, "Don't get any of the equipment." I was like, "What's it going to do?"
Yeah.
And we knocked this off the hour.
Right.
But
we were talking. We were
live on the internet.
Yeah.
So we were like, "All right, let's just keep going. We'll just keep going." And poor Don had to sit here through that.
But I don't think back then. That's the cattle prod on the screen.
Yeah, you did. You got yourself.
Right.
I thought you were great in Crashing.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks,
Although I don't know you very well, I feel like that captured your real person.
Listen, there are elements. No, look, it's elements, of guys. I mean, I would never be like presumptuous like that and give people specific advice about comedy. Like, I'm more reflective and thoughtful than that. But there's a way that you come at it with,
how similar. I mean, how realistic is it to a comic's journey into being a comedian?
You run into that guy.
What's that?
You run into that guy.
Yeah.
That guy you run into.
Sure.
More or less, you run into that guy. It's like club owners. Like, it's never that, that specific, but there's an amalgam of of personality types, and you're gonna run into them in at least more old school kinds of club owners. Now stuff is more corporate.
How come you don't do you not want to, or are you too busy more acting? You're really good at that.
I was for the last couple of years. I was playing a cop on NBC.
You were?
Yeah, with on Shades of Blue. I was chasing Jennifer Lopez and Ray Liotta on Shades of Blue.
Yeah, my brother kept on telling me to watch that show. He loved it. He thought it was great.
I was good.
Okay.
No. It was good.
Are you allowed to make eye contact with Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
It's not.
What about Ray Liotta?
She seems like it's going to be some diva stuff, and I don't know what it's like in the back. Look, I'm not the guy working logistics for Jennifer, but I had enough scenes with her, and she was always, professional and on point, and just no BS stuff.
Yeah, just regular chick.
Yeah. Well, not so regular. She had a cup with rhinestones on it, but But other than that, kind of Ray. He was cool. Ray's real cool.
Ray seemed like he was real cool.
He's one of the guys I became friends with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was in a show where he played. It was him and a team of burglars, or like they were a team of thieves.
Yep.
And it was really good. It was on for like 4 episodes, and that was one that I was like watching every week. And then they canceled the goddamn thing, and I'm like, I need to know. I got questions.
There you go. I was doing another show. Yeah. No, that acting thing. Listen, acting. It's very odd like that. When people say, you were good on that. Like the presumption in life is if you're really good at something and you show up on time, that it'll be there again.
Right.
Acting is not necessarily like that. There are some guys that are really able, and often they dedicate their lives to it. It's like it's a weird thing to dedicate your life to. You have very little control over whether or not any show goes. If you're not the writer, director, or a real above the title kind of ticket selling guy,
you don't have anything.
You don't. There's no. You don't. How do you leverage that?
We look at it like acting. Like you think you got a spot in a movie, you're a celebrity now. But to you, it's a job. You know what I mean? You're doing it. You're going there to do a job.
You go do what you got to do. And I don't even know what celebrity means. Listen. I know what it means. Like real movie stars, probably about 4 of them. I mean, the people that can leverage a film and get it financed.
Yeah.
Other people, like you do have these generational television actors that will, have been out there, and then some of those faces. But overall, if you think about like sitcoms or shows that we're on, you don't often see them again. Like what was that Mark Wahlberg show that when you think about like shows that were hot for a while, and then you never see the guy like
Entourage,
guys like that. Like you never, right? But that's the case for every show. Yeah. And so when we think back, we only think of the actors that we've seen again and again and again. But there are very, very few.
That's very true, man. It's very true. Did you? So Tom Segura was in here.
Yeah.
And he was in that movie with Wahlberg.
Okay.
And he said, and you could tell me if you have a similar instance.
Okay.
He goes, we didn't know each other. Yeah. So I kept trying to make small talk with him, and he really wasn't interested. Not that he was being rude, but he was there to work.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't like making small talk.
He goes, but then I mentioned to him some about sports, about football. Yeah. And he goes, then every day on the set, he was like, what do you think this guy would do? Do you think this guy would get these yards? And what if this team did that? You see that? He goes, and I would be like, I don't really watch sports.
Right.
At that point, I mentioned
the wrong thing.
I just had to tell him at that point.
Yeah, right.
My son is 13 now, but when Invincible came out, he was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And one day, Invincible came on, and I go, watch this movie with me. You'll like this.
Yep.
And he goes, what's it about? I go, this is about a bartender who tried out for the Eagles and made the team and played for a couple of seasons. He's like,
sure.
So then a couple of days later, Rocky, the original Rocky's on.
Yeah.
And then I go, watch this movie with me. He goes, what's it about? I go, it's about a nobody who got a chance to fight in the heavyweight from Philadelphia.
Right.
And my son looks at me at 8 years old and goes, I want to live in Philadelphia because you can do anything you want.
That's right.
You can play for the Eagles.
Yeah,
you can heavyweight champion.
There's nothing you can't do in Philly.
So I got to ask you, you're in Jersey and where and what part? Near what? When you
Where I grew up?
Yeah.
I grew up in a junkyard in Englishtown, New Jersey. My father was in the junk business.
With a big flea market?
Near the flea market. It's a weird place.
Englishtown's known for like a racetrack and a flea market.
That's right. I had a drag strip behind my house and then the flea market. But my mother was she was on a commune. My father was an uneducated Jewish business guy from the street. My mother was a hippie wasp, Ivy League. She was on her way to India to teach piano when she stopped off to meet a friend of hers that was a lesbian who owned a monkey. And she was renting a house. She was renting a house from my father.
Made this movie?
Yeah. No, I wrote a book about it. I wrote a book. I wrote a memoir. Yeah, it's all in there. Yeah. It was a very odd kind of deal.
Right.
I mean, legitimately strange. I don't mean every goofball that goes on is like, I had a weird child. No, you didn't.
Hippie mom who had a friend with a monkey.
Yeah, it was intense. And she was on a commune. They were convinced that the apocalypse was inevitable. They were building freeze-dried. They were building Earth-integrated housing. I don't know. Listen, all kinds of stuff.
So the Englishtown flea market.
You don't get into comedy unless you've.
Miserable.
I mean, why else? I don't know if you don't have something to work out. It's a weird, low probability, operation.
This is your therapy. Is being able to go out there.
But it's not. You learn in life. It's not. It can feel therapeutic, but if you're not doing actual therapy, you're not going to work it out.
How much actual therapy have you done?
I just got out. I've been institutionalized for the last 16 years. No.
I wouldn't believe that.
Been in and out.
Here's my problem is that I think I don't want to go to a therapist for two reasons.
Right.
One, I feel like I got it figured out. I'm sure like everybody else. And two, like you can't tell me, well, it's because your father. I go, I know. I could have told you.
But it's not all Freudian. And then sometimes you just examine it from other angles. If they're good people, it's a good place to touch base. I'm not like a fundamentalist. Therapy is going to solve the thing.
You seem like there's a wick on you. Like you could explode one day. I'm not. I'm very chill.
I guess I do seem like that. I don't know why.
I do.
It's just innate. I know what you mean. I know.
Yeah.
No, I had problems when I was younger.
Yeah.
Happy? No. Yeah. I don't know.
If you have to hesitate when you answer that question,
I think you're right.
Happy.
I think you're asking good questions, and maybe, there's a tension that has never left. It never leaves.
From where did it start?
I don't know. It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
I mean, I should probably address this in therapy. If my therapy were half as poignant as your questions, I'd be in good shape. I don't know.
I'm legitimately asking because
I think it's nature and nurture. I think part of this stuff we are just born into this experience. I think in this psychological lexicon they would call it characterological traits. Things are just innate.
Yeah.
And then other stuff is learned, and defense mechanisms and all of that. And so, I don't know, man.
I feel like I already have all my own answers to my own problems. Like you say, what about this? Like I could tell you the answers. I don't feel like I need somebody else to tell me. And then the other thing is, I also feel like if I want to go to therapy, it's because my ego wants to talk again to somebody else.
Oh, that's interesting.
I want to do yet another show when I leave this show. I want to impress somebody else.
That would be a really interesting thing to say when you got into that room. And so, but also, if you don't have something you really want to work out, if you're not unhappy, if you're not really jammed up in relationships, if it's not a thing, maybe
show
you
me
don't
one
need
guy that wishes his wife would have more sex. So I can't go complain about that. You know what I mean? I'm living a very average.
Some of the stuff that's right. But I think therapies when, they call it a pathology when it's not necessarily they're judging you. They're only judging the thing you're doing if it's jamming you up.
Right.
So it's not a bad OCD in a pathological way if you're flipping a light switch 3 times.
Yeah,
but if you can't get out of the room for 40 minutes,
I don't have any of that. I don't have any of that. I watch Hoarders a lot. I don't have any of those.
Exactly.
Any of those things.
Yeah, that's a mess.
Let me tell everybody, this is Dov Davidoff is here.
Yeah.
He's got some shows at Side Splitters tonight, 8:30. Friday 8 and 10:15, Saturday 6, 8 and 10:30, and then Sunday at 7 o'clock. Don't run into him at the airport on Monday. He's going to kill you after all those shows. Are you worried about this coronavirus at all, or traveling?
Listen, I don't feel. I'm washing my hands, and I'm trying not to shake too much. That kind of thing.
That's the thing.
What are you going to do?
After the show, sometimes, like after the interview, I'll come over there and thank the person.
Yep.
I'm going to give you an
absolutely. Bump's great.
I'm not worried about it, but I'm worried. I feel like I'm impeding on you.
I think bump is a good way to go in general. I prefer the Asian style bow.
Yeah.
Asian bow's a good way to go.
Nice. Good to see you, Dov. Dov is from your mother's side.
No, my father. Well, no, yes, yeah. My mother gave me the name. It's from a book. It's from a novel. But yeah, no, it's an Israeli name. But I'm not Israeli, and my mother's a Protestant English wife.
I thought hippie was like the bird of peace.
I know, but it's DOV. Yeah. I know. I've been explaining this since I was born.
Any siblings?
I do. I have one. His name's Orion. Orion, we pronounce it, but Orion. He's a psychologist.
Look at that guy taking it. Both of you went to work out your problems in different ways.
That's the name of the game. You got to figure it out.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. This is one of the funniest comedians I've seen in a long time.
I'm good. I haven't been working social media, and so my road numbers. I was living the life of an actor for the last couple of years, and so I would still be at the Comedy Cellar 5 nights a week, but I was not banging that social media thing. I should have used it better and really hit the road up. Listen, you got to hold on to your soul, but at the same time, there's a way to thread the needle, and I have to do a better job of doing that. Yeah, follow me at DOV DAVIDOFF thing.
Yeah, you'll be impressed. I promise you.
At DOV DAVIDOFF.
Now, do you travel alone? You're here alone this weekend?
Yes, I travel alone. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What social media are you using? Twitter?
I'm using Instagram.
That's
is
the one everybody's
one.
on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Twitter, there's so much going on in those feeds, and everybody's now, at this point, there's a saturation kind of thing with all the social media. I wonder what's going to be next after Instagram. I don't know how long that's going to be the premiere one.
I mean, Facebook's still hanging in.
TikTok. That's what the kids, like, that's
I'm a heterosexual, so that's not going to happen.
Say, please don't do TikTok. You're going to ruin it for me.
Oh, listen, I'm with you. If you're not in middle school or early high school,
okay,
do not get on TikTok. But that is like the new one that all the kids are like making money from.
But those jump in and jump out. Snapchat, TikTok.
I'm a landlord in New York, and I'm developing right now. So I got involved in business years ago, and then I sort of refied and did another deal. One of my major goals was to sort of divorce myself from utter reliance on the whims of entertainment and social media. And so luckily, I've been making a living for a long time in this business, but I don't ever want to be on TikTok is what I mean. That's what I meant to say.
No. Are you married?
Marriage is that's an excellent question.
I know you were married.
I am having a very difficult time. we were in couples therapy. I find, listen, I may not be the easiest guy to be with, but I do find that there is a hyper defensive, stiff Canadian way about this woman that I find very challenging.
How long has it been?
It's been 3 years.
Oh, 3
A little over 3 years.
So, is that her?
Yeah.
She's worth the fight.
I disagree. I disagree. I think bones. There's nothing more overrated than bone structure in terms of trying to maintain. That's an awful picture of me.
Her bone structure does not
high-end bone structure
equate the trouble that you have gone through.
No. And many a man has been fooled by that game. A siren. There used to be like these apparitions that lured sailors into rocks. You got to be careful with that bone structure stuff.
Now, listen. Clearly, I'm better than your therapist. What's going on? You did jokes about your wife.
Yes.
When I saw you.
Yes.
And I remember, I think I said it to Robert Kelly or somebody. I saw
it.
I said,
Bobby Kelly.
I said, kill last night, DOV DAVIDOFF.
Yeah.
And I said, he told his joke, and he goes, his wife, that's a thing. He's working all that out. I go, that's all I knew.
Oh yeah, no, it's intense. Listen, I think we both did our best.
Yeah.
I don't like our chances.
Yeah.
I don't like.
So what are you living separately? You living together still?
No, we're still living together. Yeah. But she wanted a house in the burbs and leave the city. That's not how things started,
Yeah, you can't change it up. You had a plan.
Our life was in Brooklyn, and then suddenly she wanted to get out of the city, and we had a kid. When we had a kid, and it's like that wasn't part of the plan for me to drive 10 hours a week back and forth from Midtown Manhattan.
And people understand how taxing that is.
Oh yes, especially people that don't. Listen, I'm the sole breadwinner. It's a whole. I don't know.
Pressure is on you to make the money.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Take care of not only your wife but a kid. You said.
I had a kid. Yeah, my son. Yeah.
The pressure right there alone.
Yeah.
And anxiety that comes with that.
Yeah, and you got to be able to communicate around these. And I just find her not a good partner to communicate with. And she is who she is. I think she's doing her best, but it's not good enough for me at this point.
What's stopping you from getting out? You want to call her right now and tell her it's over?
No, I'm just waiting until I get back from Tampa. No.
Got like 5 shows.
That's why he added the Sunday show. I'm going to need one more day to think about it. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. So who was it? Louis C.K.? K.
Yeah.
Said that Dice was the one who taught him that you can get divorced and still be a good father.
Yes.
That's what finally let him walk away.
Well, I mean, but also just the notion that if you have a really not good relationship, you're probably not doing the kid any favors. You just want to be. Yeah, the nature of co-parenting. If you get along better as co-parents, is likely better for the kid. And my kid's young enough at this point; he's 16 months old. So, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're in its life, you're fine.
Oh yeah, I'm real committed in that regard. Yes,
then you're fine.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad we settled that. I feel like we fixed that for you.
Yeah, no, I love the kid to death. You know, I mean, that's the main priority. And so
then you can't stay together in a relationship because of a kid. That just makes it worse.
No, it just makes it worse.
Yeah, and you fight more and you resent each other more.
Yeah.
Or have a kid to save a marriage.
Right.
That's definitely a bad way to go.
So how is marriage counseling? Because I did that one time.
Okay.
In the beginning of our marriage.
Yep.
It was like right after we had a kid, and we were fighting a lot. But it's because the kid was introduced into our otherwise calm relationship. But we didn't have any issues with each other. The therapist actually said at the end of it, she's like,
"That's amazing.
You guys are fine."
That's so great.
One meeting, and she's like, "You guys are fine."
That's so great.
Yeah, but
that's really good.
But
I wonder how you were able to do that. Had you had tumultuous relationships before the current one? Before your marriage?
I had long-term relationships before. But
you're probably reasonably well put together.
I have a lot of things. I have a child of divorce.
Yep.
My parents were divorced when I was very young.
Yep.
I didn't have my father around most of my life, although we have a solid relationship now.
Okay.
So there are some issues there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we were poor. We were very poor. I grew up in Staten Island, a very poor kid.
Nobody escapes unscathed, but sometimes there are these lasting elements of stuff,
There are, but there becomes a term. I'll tell you, goes out for everybody.
Yes.
There comes a time in your life,
yep,
usually in your mid-20s, where you go, I could sit around and cry about this stuff forever, or I could change things.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And when you commit to change things, it's done now. You can't be mad at anything that happened before, because now you're an entirely new person.
Right. But if they keep jamming you up in terms of relationships, even if you committed to changing it, that's when you need help.
Yes.
I totally believe in saying, look, no more. Even politically, I look, whether you're left or right, I have to hear a politician. When you're hollering about free health care, I don't know what the metrics are and whether or not you can underwrite that successfully as a sustainable business model, but
doesn't seem like it.
You must ask people to take responsibility for their own lives.
Of course.
I've lived near I grew up with working class kids in many cases that weren't even talking about college. I know empirically myself, if you drop another $10 million into the gym and buy everybody a personal computer, if their parents don't care,
right,
and their culture isn't one of higher education, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on stuff.
Nothing's changing
and so
all.
I have to hear personal responsibility engaged in any political situation.
I wonder if that's
don't just throw money at stuff.
No, and I wonder if that's a New York thing, because in New York,
no, it's a human thing.
No, but I mean, I wonder if you can relate to it more as a New Yorker, because you see more of the people like you. When you talk about universal health care, and they go, "Here's Sally. She lives in Indiana, and she can't afford a cancer medication." Well, you're like, "Of course she should get her cancer medication."
Of course.
But then when you're like, "This is Cliff and Leo. They live in their mother's attic, and they don't."
If I hear one more hyper liberal talk, listen, I want to help everybody, but we have to do so in a sustainable way. My very good friend, I used to hang out in the projects all the time when I was a kid, and one time I stepped into the elevator, and my Puerto Rican friend goes, it's just like a white boy to step in an elevator without looking. Somebody had pissed in the elevator. I'm like, it's just like somebody in the projects to piss in their own elevator. And so it's this thing where, look, you can't just throw money at that issue. Yeah, there are big problems with the projects, and money can help some of it.
Sure.
You got to have a culture where people aren't pissing in their own elevator.
In their own elevator.
That's
in their
correct.
own elevator.
Yeah.
I grew up in the projects. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want personal responsibility. I want to call myself on it, and I want my neighbor to have it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, money ain't going to solve it.
I might vote for you. I'm
with you, Mike.
Look at that. That's it. No matter who you support, that's a normal.
But I don't hear that. I don't hear that. When a politician goes, you talk about taxing bill. Yeah, we have to have effective tax rates, and you cannot have anti-competitive situations so that you create American aristocracy. But you must ask for people to have personal responsibility.
And that's why when you see,
I don't want to pay for your drug problems anymore. Right. I don't want to pay for your opiate problems.
That's what most of Americans say. They're not against helping people who need help. They're against paying
all the homeless down in downtown Los Angeles are on SSI. They're all on some sort of government
already. Yeah.
Yeah. There's got to be. We got to have some sort of contract. And yes, you also have to be able to help people. People are falling through the cracks, in a major way, and you got to be able to address that. But
wow, that was very, very logical.
Yes, we must be pragmatic,
logical,
and the financial reality is there. You cannot I would love to get on a podium and go, "I'll pay for your college, I'll pay for your health care."
Right.
Where's the money come from?
I always say Bernie Sanders reminds me of. I'm not going to vote for him, but I like him a lot. I wish he was my neighbor. And I
think he's got a great heart.
I'm going to the store, Mr. Sanders. You need anything?
Anything.
I'll take some bread.
Yeah, anything you want. You want bread? You got bread. Yeah, sure.
That's the kind of thing I see. His heart's in the right place, but
in the right place.
All those other people on stage with him said, "Look, we've done the math.
You know who I'd vote for? Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Bloomberg doesn't care what party you're in. I saw what he did for New York City.
Yes, I know, and I said
he was an effective dude.
Yeah, but
an effective dude. Fiscally responsible. That's another story. Whether or not you can win.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got and it's so funny that New York hates Trump so much.
Oh, literally, man! If you're looking, oh my God, it's crazy.
Because he's not. He's always been the jerk that lived here forever. In New York. That's why they're New Yorkers.
Yes.
We know. You guys don't know this jerk. We know him since we're kids.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I do some material about Trump, and I'm neither. I'm an independent, but he does have. He is clearly a narcissist. I don't see how anybody can argue. That's not a political observation.
No,
that's a personality observation.
Absolutely, and I think even he would tell you that. But the thing is that he is doing a good job at a lot of things.
Sure,
but he ruins it with that.
You're absolutely right. And so if he cured cancer tomorrow, nobody would be able to, nobody on the other side would be able to acknowledge that he had something to do with the cure of cancer.
There would be people with cancer that wouldn't take the cure.
That's absolutely right. They would drop dead saying nothing that he created.
Yeah, I don't want Trump's cure.
Remember George Bush, the second George Bush?
Yeah.
Everybody hated him for a while.
Yes.
And then 9/11 happened, and they were like,
Yeah.
And he was so dumb, and he was drunk, and he fell off his own couch and cut his face.
Right.
But now you look back at him, and you're like, oh, he was a silly president.
He's giving candy to Michelle Obama.
They will never forget about Trump. They will be like, our fat orange moron.
Narcissists really trigger people, man.
And if he didn't have Twitter,
Yep.
and he wasn't able to talk as much as he talks to the public,
Yep.
he may go down as his accomplishments as one of the greatest presidents ever.
He would have been so much better off if he didn't have that kind of just that. He does. I heard narcissism described as relating. Oh no, experiencing the world as it relates to your needs.
Right.
Just experiencing the entire world as it relates to your needs.
What can you do for me?
And so even if you're really effective, you're gonna trigger so many people that it's
why people are afraid to say they support him. They're afraid to say because they don't want to get lumped in. But I want to be like, I support him, but I also think he's a jerk.
But that's the problem we have with teams. Like, why can't we have a nuanced conversation about how we agree with certain conservative political scenarios without it being, anyway, the personality thing jams him up.
I have some great friends on Facebook who hate him.
Yeah,
hate him. Every day post up. I don't care. That's your opinion.
I don't care either.
It's the ones who call me a jerk for supporting him. Like a comedian. What was his name? Danny Bevins.
Yeah.
Danny Bevins, I had to block him because you can say what you want about him, but don't start calling me a jerk because I don't agree with you, because I happen to think you're a jerk. So now we're even.
Well, and also there's no nuance in that. We're not going to be able to have a conversation, an adult conversation about things that we do or don't believe in as long as we're taking up teams.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I believe we couldn't solve any problem today with that.
Come to Side Splitters this weekend. I think we can solve things.
I will tell you that I'm going to try and come on Friday.
Yeah, come on
out. It's the only night I don't have anything going on. Thursday 8:30, Friday 8 and 10:15, Saturday.
Listen, I haven't been to this club in a long time.
You're gonna be asleep.
I don't know if I was ever here, but they have 3 shows on Saturday night. I'm feeling very passive aggressive. I didn't read this contract before I said I'd do it. I mean, I'm sure they're great people. Tommy is emceeing. He drove me here this morning. He says club owner's a great guy. Here he's a really nice guy.
A great guy.
That's good. That makes me feel better.
Club's a good club.
It's a great room, yeah.
3 shows on a Saturday night. Let me be the first to say, too much.
Yeah.
Too much. I don't want to be running my mouth for 3 hours.
However, they will all be packed. And even the early show, you're going to be like,
okay.
Early show? Yeah, because, listen, I'm not going to go to the early show, but I can go to the early show and then still go out to dinner. So
I was literally just thinking about my voice after the 3rd show. It starts to, listen, you talk on the radio for a long time every day, but you're doing stand-up, walking back and forth for 3 shows. Not too many people are doing 3 shows in the country anymore. But anyway.
And then Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
I might have to fire your agent.
Agent and therapist.
No, I hear they're good guys. Yeah, exactly.
I bet you
yeah.
go through the same thing. I was talking to my son showed me a meme last night.
Yeah.
It was Squidward, from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Squidward had a mean face on, and it said, me when I'm happy, and then another one said, me when I'm sad, and it was the same face.
Yeah.
My son showed it to me, and I go, he goes, that's when you always think I'm in a bad mood. And I go, he goes, that's just my face. And I go, yeah. I go, me too. People say that to me all the time.
Yeah.
But with me, I've just talked for 4, sometimes 5 hours a day.
Right.
I'm done talking.
Right.
I'm not, it's not that I'm not interested in you.
Perfect sense. That's right.
But I'm not going to bring anything up.
That's right.
I'm not mad about it. That's just how it goes. So if I were you, I would not talk to Dove between 5 and 11 on Saturday.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think you'll have a good time.
Oh no! Listen, it'll be great. Come on out. It'll be great.
Do you drink?
I'm not afraid of a light drink. I mean, it's a slippery slope when you work at night.
Yes.
And so you just have to be you got to be on guard. You know.
I got you.
But I'm looking to shake things up. Come on out,
I'm thinking if I come to the Late Show on Friday, we may drink.
I'll have a drink with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you haven't seen Crashing, it's available on HBO.
Yep.
I thought it was very good.
It was good, man.
I thought it was a really
good show.
Your character was good.
Yeah.
Peach was good.
You never know why. I mean, sometimes you know why things get canceled, but sometimes listen. I was talking to Judd Apatow, the creator of the show. He would hang out at the Cellar a lot when they were shooting, but he said they pitched a 4th season, and he was just like, HBO just didn't.
But you know what?
You don't know.
I think I was good.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sometimes it's
that
good.
Too.
Because now you're just fighting with. Now you're just fighting to make up more. Episodes.
I think a lot of shows go on too long.
Yeah,
you're right.
I thought that was good, nice in and out, and made for there was nothing I could look back on and go, they shouldn't have done it.
Yep.
Just leave it as it is.
Yep.
What do you got? You doing any other acting stuff coming up?
Well, I wrote this book, so I'll be out in L.A. pitching at some point again. I'm on the road. I want to shoot another hour.
Is the book pretty new?
It's a memoir. It is not that new, but my pitch will be. Well,
tell me about the name of it, so people who hear
it's called Road Dog, and it's a really personal memoir. It's funny, but it's also really personal. Colin Quinn loved, some interesting people really liked it, and I wrote it myself. I've always wanted to write a book, like a real memoir. Right. It's not just comedy bits but in book form. And so
you seem like you have an interesting story, but also that you'd be very honest.
Yeah, it's brutally honest.
Yeah. I think people appreciate that.
It's brutally honest. I see no other value in a memoir.
I don't think I could write a fully honest book until some people are dead.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Are your parents
I know what you mean. My father's dead. My mother's still alive.
Did she read the book? The memoir?
Yeah.
She like it or no?
Well, she likes that tone. She likes things that are really, really raw.
Okay.
She's an analyst that lives on the Lower East Side. She's a painter and an analyst that lives on the Lower East Side.
They
like to watch you bleed.
Does your friend still have the monkey?
No. The monkey's dead, unfortunately.
Did it eat her face?
No.
No, we had a famous monkey on
No, and we found out the monkey was a lesbian. No. No.
All right, so the memoir Road Dog is available, and then acting-wise.
And then acting-wise, I don't know what's going on.
What could they do? They could do a show about it? Like, you think
I would go out and pitch a show based on the book. Yeah, it would be a television show based on the book. The source material is all real, so a lot of times when you go in to pitch these executives, they want to know that you have 100 episodes.
Right.
Almost no shows go in 100, but they want to know that it's there if it does.
Long,
And so the pitch is, look, the source material in the junkyard with all of these characters in this life, and then he gets into comedy. It's all real, and the stories can go on and on and on. The characters are rich and three-dimensional because they were real characters.
I think that's very interesting.
Listen, it's all in the execution.
They need to take more. They need to take more of a step out and do things that we haven't seen before.
I know. I mean,
be real on some stuff.
But the other thing about television now, it's no longer. It's like Netflix or all of these seasons are now 8 episodes, 9 episodes, maybe 10 episodes. And so even if you get 2-3 seasons out of it, it's like it's you got to be on the road.
Yeah.
And so I need to build my road presence more. I really have to build more of a social media road deal. Because there are some guys out there killing that. Look, I don't mind if you're beating me in terms of ticket sales and all that if you're good.
Right.
But if you're not good, it bothers me. I think you're ripping people off.
Yeah.
Maybe get on TikTok.
I'll get on TikTok. I got to boost my 13-year-old demographic.
Does it bother you that
I don't like people
YouTubers
being
will
ripped
sell out
off.
a room?
Well, look, it bothers me for the world. It bothers me in the same way that it would bother a politician that cares about things. It doesn't bother me on a personal level.
No, but yeah.
It's like you know, there was a very famous producer that said nobody ever lost money underestimating the intelligence of the American populace. You can continue to play to the bottom. There's always been ticket sales there.
Carmen, you got to go back to that picture. Is that you with the super mullet?
Yeah.
On
Oh,
your
as a
Instagram?
kid?
Look,
Yeah.
look behind you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
White tank top,
Yeah,
super
yeah,
mullet.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
look at that.
Oh, yeah, Jersey.
That's Jersey junkyard mullet right there.
Kasha
That's
Goo
exactly-
Goo.
Are we the same age? I bet you were.
I'm 46 years old.
I'm 48, so I would have beat you up probably in high school. I would have been a senior. You were
I
a
doubt that.
sophomore.
I doubt that.
Well, me and 3 of my friends.
Okay.
Don't. I mean, we'll scrap it out right now.
No, you look like you can handle yourself. You got big hands.
I almost had to fight Michael Rappaport a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Galvin and Bobby Kelly tumbled into the drums that used to be over there. There's been some scrapping going on in the studio.
Yeah, I got you. No. I still box a little bit and do some jiu-jitsu. That's my kid.
Yeah, that's your kid?
Yeah, that was his first week walking on Halloween. Look at him walk.
Hilarious.
Perfect
Tremendous.
zombie walk.
He's a zombie.
That's adorable.
Yeah, he's a zombie.
That's great.
Yeah.
I had a kid, and then I was like, I don't think we should have any more kids because I don't think I could like the next kid as much as I like this.
Yeah, I know.
Turns out you do.
You do.
I like both of
you
them.
do.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
nature endows us with the ability to love these little animals, right?
I don't know. I didn't. I was gonna. I think I was pretty much gonna go. I only like this one. The other one I love. I'll take care of.
No.
But I'm pretty
It's
good.
chemical, man. Your brain connects to that thing.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how people don't. Like the people that don't connect and disappear on their kid. Like, what are you doing?
Who was I talking to? Last night I said something to somebody, and I was like my buddy Pete is a single dad.
Yes.
And I go, and he is super dedicated to his kid and hockey and all that stuff. And I said, who was I talking to? And I said, I don't know that if I could. Oh, I know. We were talking about somebody else we know that has a baby.
Yes.
And I said, I don't know if I could go with 3 days without seeing my kid. It would go out of my mind. Can you imagine just being like, I'm not going to go
I
see
couldn't
him
imagine it. And there should be more said. There should be more said about this politically as well.
Yeah.
You know, these politicians, they go out with free. How about asking people to be responsible? And by the way, start clipping people on their third crack felony.
Yeah.
Every interview, I've been watching this series of interviews, and I feel very badly for these people. And they're really difficult. They come from very difficult situations. And these addicts, they have 4 kids. They have 5 kids. They were addicts when they had the first kid. It's like loading a gun. It's like putting a bullet in a gun and just playing Russian roulette with society.
Yeah.
You're raising horror shows. And yes, if the argument is one of them might be okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the 200 that aren't?
But even the one that's okay,
It's going to be
still
working
gonna
on it for the
rely
rest
on
of the
us.
life.
Yeah, it's still going to rely on us to take
So
care
what
of
are we
it.
doing about this politically?
I don't know. Yeah, nothing.
You can continue to have. You can after your 4th kid, you crackhead. You're going to have another one. You rat. They should.
They should
kill-
snip you right after the first kid.
100% clip people. Yes.
But you do like Bob Barker said. The next president should go and remember, spay and neuter your crackheads.
Spay and neuter.
Spay and neuter all the crackheads.
Did Bob Barker say that?
No, he said it for the animals at the end of every show.
Oh, right.
Like there should be a politician that
You're
says.
100%
And
right.
remember, we can't.
I would have had more respect for Barker had he said that. That's 100% right.
He's trying to break down on the pet population.
Yes.
And we're trying to cut down on.
I don't know if that's
ruining the
liberal or
country.
conservative. I don't know
That's
where that falls in
normal.
political.
Drew
It
Carey
seems-
actually says that now.
Exactly. We got to get these game show guys together.
That is the
and form a party.
That is the logical thing. It's interesting
I
because
can't stand it, man. I
that's
get
also
so
why-
angry when I look at my kid and think there's some crackhead out there not taking care of his kid. So not only is society going to have to take care of it, but even if the kid makes it out of high school, he's going to be a wreck psychologically.
And they don't even have to be crackheads. Sometimes they could just be jerk-offs. The one guy,
absolutely.
I don't like her. My girlfriend got fat. I don't want to be around her and that kid anymore. And then just think it's okay to walk away.
Is it that you're not wired in the same way? Like, you know, like a it's almost like if you think about a child molester, the impediments in society are enormous, which means you must be so consumed with that kind of sexuality or something.
Right.
Is it that you have some wiring in your brain that is not connected to the fact that you had a kid, or is it just that you're a sociopath or
But what about this? Like, what if
narcissist?
But what if, as a man, you do not want a child? You make that very clear to your significant other.
That's a different story.
And then there's an accident, and she gets pregnant, and she decides to keep it.
Well, you were old enough to have sex. You were responsible enough to do that to take the roll of the dice. Now you have to be responsible for what you're doing.
But if you're very clear that you don't want that child,
I know what you mean.
You know, like
well, and if you really hate the woman, like if it was just some chick, I banged a girl in a hotel room. I met her at a payphone one night. It's a romantic story. I don't think we've got time to go into it. And she told me she ended up, she said, having an abortion. I was 16 years old, and that's a situation where I don't know. I would need to think more deeply about it. I met her at a payphone. 5 minutes later, we banged. You understand?
You don't want to kid with that.
That's romance. That's a hot scene.
But if there's a kid that comes out of that situation,
right? What do you do? That's a good question.
What do you do?
And I used to bang Fat Lisa when we lived together.
Yes.
And if one of us got Fat Lisa pregnant, it was time to throw her off the balcony.
Right.
There was no way we were.
I know what you mean.
I mean, I could not love Fat Lisa's kid.
That's how I felt about this woman in the hotel room that I met at the payphone.
Payphone lady.
That's right. I even had a problem with Verizon for the longest time because of it. Yeah. No, bad scene.
But I gotta tell you though, you gotta have those stories. I would not tell you to not bang the payphone lady. You gotta have those stories. They make you.
You gotta have them.
They make you.
You gotta have them. No doubt about it. But but I broke the condom. It's not that I didn't wear a condom. It's just that you
tried. It
does happen.
Who do you hang out with? Who are like your best friends? Anybody we know? Comedian-wise, you hang out with?
Listen, I always love when I walk into the club and I see Colin Quinn. We don't hang out outside the club.
Right.
Colin goes, but he's got a really interesting, dynamic mind, and so somebody like that. But in terms of other comedians,
who?
Brian Callen is one of my longtime close friends.
He's having
we still
some
talk.
TV success, huh?
Yeah.
I love the Goldbergs.
Brian,
and now he's got the whole other show.
Brian's great. And he's really funny, and he's a great human being. Dan Natterman is a really funny guy.
Okay.
A lot of people don't. He was on Crashing a little bit, but he's a really unique, funny guy. And I'm just at the Cellar 5 nights a week. So whoever's on,
that's it. That's your.
You walk in and you hang out with the people that are there. I mean, everybody walks into that room, and
I think
we're there.
I guess it's part of being a comedian, but I think that I would eat myself alive laying in bed after a set going, was it good? Was it bad? Did I bomb? Did people like me? I think that would
not after a while.
Yeah, after
if
a while,
you run that set a bunch, like if I did the jokes on the Tonight Show, did them here and did them there, and you sitting in row 3 don't like them, God bless you. Do whatever you got to do. I'm not going to rethink it.
Right. I think I would be obsessed with that for a while.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm coming. I'm going to try and come on Friday night. I really am, because I really want to see that. Last time I saw you, I walked out of there going, God damn, that was funny. And I hardly do that. I love Bobby Kelly. I'll go see him every time.
Oh, yeah. Bobby's great.
But that one time, I was so impressed that I called him the next day and said, you should be as funny as DOV Davidoff.
And we'll get into like all of this hypersensitivity stuff, but not from a dopey angle, from a thoughtful angle. And so, we'll get some good stuff on it. Yeah.
DOV Davidoff, I'll tell you again when the shows are. There's got to be one that fits your schedule.
Yeah, well, there's 19 shows on Saturday, so there's got to be one.
8:30, Friday 8 and 10:15, Saturday 6, 8, and 10:30. There's 3 different shades of the sun. There'll be a show, and then on Sunday at 7 p.m. What's worse, the Saturday 6 o'clock show or the Sunday 7 o'clock show?
Oh, Saturday 6 o'clock, because you have 2 in front of you. You got 2 yet to go. No doubt about it.
That one you cracked.
Sunday's
that hour,
a pleasure. I'm out.
Done.
Yep.
Dude, it was great seeing you.
You too, Mike.
Thank you for getting up early. We'll take a quick break. DOV Davidoff, SidesplittersComedy.com. We'll see you there.
You're listening to the Mike Calta Show on 102.5 The Bone. We are Real Raw Radio.